Welcome back, everybody. I wasn't actually going to record this one, but why not? Building a new workbench for my garage here. I'm really tight on space, so it's not huge. I'm also either going to do folding legs on it, or maybe put it on casters, or maybe even both. I'm not really sure, just so I can store it. If I did folding legs, I could just hang it on a wall. Obviously, I got to get rid of so much stuff here that's just built up over the winter. But starting off, it's a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood. It's actually poplar plywood. I'm not sure why I have this, but it's a very nice piece, so it'll make a good top. These are just 2x6s. I already took the round over off them. It's for a nice flat surface. I just did that on the table saw. That's very easy. You just set it about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the width of the 2x6, and you end up pretty much taking a sheet of paper off it. It's very thin. So yeah, I already cut them to length. This is going to be 32 by about 72. It's a little smaller, but it'll be close. 2x6 surrounds, and then I'll probably run 2x4s across the middle and a couple going down. So we'll see. I have 3 more 2x4s over there. I may try to clean up some of those 4x4s I have over there for the legs. I do have some folding leg brackets that I'd like to try, but I don't know if it's really going to work out for something like this. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I got to get to screwing these together. I'll probably countersink them and maybe put plugs in it just so the screws are hidden. All right, so I pre-drilled the ends where they're going to go together, and then I'm going to widen the holes with 5/16, only about 1/4 of an inch down. And then I'll cut some plugs for it. I want to hide the screws on it. I'll do that on the other end too. So I'm just going to go ahead and drill through these a little bit, see what I can do. Yeah, see, it just widened the first set. So this will let me really countersink that screw in and then fill it with a plug, or you could even use dowel. I didn't use a lot, just about that much. A little bit on there. And then I'll flatten out as it screws together. All right, so I've got the first side screwed together. See the countersinks? So that'll give me room to put a plug in there and saw those flush. I started the other side too. I still got to wind them in. Again, just a few little drops of glue and called it a day. Starting with the middle one. But going all the way in, I guess it doesn't really make a difference, but the big concern is making sure the bottom stays flush, because that's actually going to mount to the plywood, and you want that to sit flat. Come on. Those are nice and countersunk in there as well. All right, so it's time to cut some plugs. So it's pretty simple. It's just kind of like a drill bit, and this plunges into it. But it's more for an impact than a drill. So we'll give this a try. You gotta get it spinning fast first. All right, take a look. See that? Then you just kind of break that out with a screwdriver and you've got your plug. The ones that didn't just pop out, it's real easy. You just kind of take a flat screwdriver and pop them. All right, got all my plugs glued in. Just went all the way around with them. The glue is still pretty wet, but in about an hour I can cut them and then sand it all flush. All right, I'm kind of at a stopping point for the day. So these are just the main stringers or stretchers, whatever you guys want to call them, going down. I just have them glued now. I haven't screwed them yet. I was thinking of doing the same thing with plugs on the ends, but I may do pocket holes on the inside into these sideboards, or even coming out into here. I haven't really decided yet. I just wanted to get some glue on it first because glue's, really strong. This stuff's like 3,000 pounds per square inch or something like that. It's what they claim anyways. But it's nice and level, nice and flat. This is the flat surface, the top where the actual plywood's gonna lay. I thought about running a third one down the center here, but I really don't need it. 3/4 inch plywood can span that pretty easily. And it's not like I'm gonna be putting a car on it or anything. It's literally to do wood projects on. So I think it will do. For securing the top, I am gonna run glue all down this, all the way around it, and put it on, and then I may do some L brackets underneath, 4 or 5 down each line, and then a couple across. But we'll see on that too. I mean, the glue's supposedly strong enough. It's where it's poplar veneered plywood. I don't really trust that. So that's where I'm at. Everything's right where it should be. All my lines are about perfect. Perfect enough that a quick round with a sander would fix them anyways. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a stop for the night, eat something, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so it's been a bit since I've been out here. I've actually been pretty sick for the last like 2 weeks. But yeah, got the box bolted together. I did glue the top on. Hopefully some of that footage is buried on here somewhere, but it isn't. It might not be. My camera's been acting up. Typical GoPro. I ran some screws through. Obviously, I had to countersink them in as well. And I ran a few into the sideboards too. I still have to cut some of these plugs. These ones are all cut. Really, I'm ready to start working on the legs. Then I got to do quite a bit of sanding and cleaning up and things, but for the most part, it's ready. I still haven't really decided what I want to do for the legs. I do have those folding brackets, which would be nice. It'd make it pretty convenient, and then I can clear off some wall here and actually build like a rack just to put it on with it's all folded up and it won't be in the way. So that's kind of the route I want to go. But I don't know if these are going to be any good for it. They're really in pretty rough shape. Some big splits, but I'm going to get all this junk off them. These are actually some old pallets, like 12-foot long pallets. I'll run them through the planer a couple times, and if I get them looking pretty good, I'll go ahead and use them. I want to make this about 1 inch shorter than my table saw height, so I can just kind of use it as an outfeed. Maybe even 1/2 inch, I don't know, we'll see. But that's where I'm at now. Just trying to get it warm in here. I got the heater going. It's so cold. Oh, I really got to insulate this thing. But I'll get back with you in a bit. All right, so I salvaged what I could out of these, what was still what I'd consider usable wood, and cut some lengths. I'm going to run them through my planer here as soon as I get that set up. This piece I'm still not sure about, but we'll see after I plane it. See some of the coloring in there. It might be a little rotted as we get into it. These things were horribly rotted. That's just falling right apart. But all these are still relatively hard. So yeah, I'll get the planer set up, run some through, get them cleaned up, see what they look like, and if they look all right, I'll use them. They're not true 4x4s, not even close, but I want to get them all to an equal size, which will probably be like 3x3 by the time it's done. It might not even be 3x3 now. Yeah, look at that, just over 2.5. But that actually makes it easier, and it'll make it lighter. So yeah, I'm gonna go with it, but I'll get my planer set up, and obviously I'll have to run this one through first because it's a little bit thicker than the others. But yeah, it'll be fun. Well, I guess the only way to truly know if you planed them enough is if you have a pile like that. that's a ton. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I'm gonna need a trash can. But I got them all planed down, so I'm gonna cut them all the length. So I'm just gonna do a quick test fit. I'm gonna bolt one of these on and test the closing motion of it and see if I can actually reach in there to undo it after I close it. All right, so this is just a really rough mock-up. I only have 3 screws in and they're not tight. But let me just set this somewhere where you can actually see it. It seems to be like it's gonna work. So I think that's gonna be pretty good. All right, so this was filled with just glue and sawdust. There's a couple air bubbles in it, but I don't think that'll be a big deal. This is the one I didn't have my stop block set and cut a little too far through. But I don't think that'll be that big of a deal. I've got this side set in place. I'm just letting that glue tack up for an hour or so before I run a screw through it. And then that leg will be done. Then I'll get that one done, and then I'll make the bottom board that goes across and locks them all in place. Then I got to clear that wall out, and I'm going to build a rack to mount it on. Or not to mount it on, but to rest it on so it's out of the way. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. All right, so got the first one in. I put a little glue behind it and on the sides. Then I pre-drilled and I actually went over it again with a 5/16 so I can put a plug in it too, just so you don't see the screws. That's my goal, is not to see any screws. That's why I got plugs down here and over on the sides too. And I just put some glue in this side. And I just set up blocks under it so I'd know that that was level. But I'm gonna go ahead and drill these now, just so I can, you know, get the screws in, and then really once the glue dries, I can cut some plugs for it and call it a day. All right, so got those on, put the plugs in. Glue's just gotta dry. I did the other side too. I'm gonna have to do some glue and sawdust on this one. This is the one I cut too far, but there's a gap there. Which I guess I don't really care because it is a workbench, but I don't know, it looks a little funky, so I'll probably fill that with something, some homemade wood filler. But yeah, other than that, it should be about ready. I don't really love these angled, or these folding brackets. See, there's just a touch of play in them. This side has it too. So I don't know, I'll have to do that support brace across it, but that'll be next. All right, so just getting a layout of where I'm gonna run my support across the bottom. I'll just take a measuring tape and put it towards the center. I wanna have it hang out about 4 inches. Not so much that I trip on it, but enough that there's plenty to give it strength. And I'm gonna notch it probably 1.5 inches down, maybe 2. And that'll lock it in place. It's fairly stable now, but it's rockier than I would like. So I'll do that, and once that's in place, then I just have to start sanding all these plugs down and it'll be ready to use. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'll get some measurements. All right, so this is what I was going for. So now we'll see if it actually fits. I just set up a stopper on my miter saw. Mine's really basic, you just slide this over. So yeah, we're gonna put it underneath and see if it locks in. We'll see what happens. And then if it does, I'll cut it to length and call it good. All right, that actually fits really snug, and it definitely stiffened it up a lot. So, and it's removable, so I'm gonna call that a small victory. So now I'll cut it to length. I'll probably leave 4 or 5 inches off each end, just so there's a little extra strength there. And then this thing will be pretty much done other than sanding, and I'll finish the top. I'll probably just put poly on it because it's going to get really beat, but yeah, perfect. All right, the secure board is cut. I angled them, just why not? Might as well make it look fancy, but yeah, fits perfect. It really stiffens the bench up a lot. Now I got to figure out a wall mount for it. Well, I don't know exactly how strong this is, but I'm 210 and I'm sitting on it without really any issues. And it's pretty stable. Trying to rock back and forth, it's not really going anywhere. All right, so I just sanded all those plugs down. Just take a look. Nice and smooth. Over here too. I still haven't cleaned it off with like a tack cloth or anything or put any finish on it. So that's kind of the goal. Just want it inset a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the brackets on these two legs. And I'm gonna fold them down before I attach that because I wanna know that it will fold without hitting or getting crooked or twisted or anything weird like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach these two and then I'll do the other side. All right, so the screws that came with aren't very good. That's stripped out, didn't even make it halfway in. So I'm saying the hell with those, and we're going with these. These are actually exterior screws, but they'll probably hold better anyways, so why not? They won't strip out and they're easier to get out. All right, just rigging up a real simple wall mount system for it. It's a 2x6 glued and screwed to a 2x4 that's glued to the or screwed to the wall. Just ran the bead of glue on this one. This one just gives you an idea. So I can basically flip the bench up onto it. Then I'll run one across here and I'll just have a slide latch that goes down into it. I'll drill a hole in it. All right, just drilled it with a 1/2-inch spade. That fits in pretty well. So now it's mounted up on the wall and I got the folding legs. So I'll go ahead and close it up. This one doesn't close all the way because I wanted to make it the same height as my table saw. And the length of plywood I had didn't really cooperate with that, so. That works. And now it's out of the way. So if I got to break out the table saw and do some work or the router or something along those lines, or, well, the router I'd probably want the bench, but maybe the planer, I don't know. It gives me a lot more room in here. Enjoy.